Leo Tolstoy quoted that one of the first conditions of happiness is that the link between man and nature shall not be broken. The quote fits to introduce our next event, which is a panel discussion. The topic of today's panel discussion is We Are the Future of the Planet. Our first panelist is Mr. Emmanuel Jal. He has started his life as a child soldier in the war-torn region of southern Sudan in the early 1980s. After a huge number of struggles, he became a successful and acclaimed artist and peace ambassador. His strong message is reconciliation and peace, and has addressed the UN, US Congress, the Carter Center, and the very highest level of several governments. In 2008, a documentary, War Child, on his life was released, which won 12 prestigious film festival awards worldwide. He has released 6 awards-nominated studio albums, Not the Key, Ceasefire, War Child, and See Me Mama. He has collaborated and performed alongside artists such as Lauryn Hill, Xavier Root, Peter Gribble, etc. He co-starred with Reese Witherspoon in The Good Life. The film made its debut to rave reviews at the Toronto International Film Festival before being released. During his career, he has been involved with a number of global charity organizations, including the British Council, the Child Soldier Initiative, and many more. In 2010, he released We Want Peace campaign for peace, protection, and justice for all of Sudan, as well as calling for an end of all conflicts that affect innocent people around the world. For his outstanding commitment to peace building, he has been awarded Václav Havel International Prize for Creative Dissent 2018, Hero in the Global Campaign Against Violent Extremism, UNESCO 2016, The Hunt Humanitarian Award, etc. He was the Young Global Leader for the World Economic Forum, and he has performed at the G20 Summit in Mexico. Our next panelist is Ms. Raheen Fatima from Pakistan. She is a multi-talented personality. She is a peace and climate change activist, stand-up comedian, theatre actress, aspiring entrepreneur, SDGs ambassador and interviewer. During pandemic, she has conducted over 500 interviews and sessions to foster global peace and achievement of SDGs. She is a gifted child and possesses extraordinary intellect and communication skills. She is a keen learner and quickly understands new concepts and knowledge. She is very adaptive and easygoing. She is culturally aware and easily makes friends with people from diverse backgrounds. She has a passion to work for people and planet. She is ambitious to take her work globally by creating teams and collaborations for making global peace dream a reality. Her immediate aim is to synergize all peace efforts at one place involving all stakeholders across the globe. She believes nothing else but interfaith, intercultural, international dialogue can pave the way for global peace. Our next guest is one whose passion is to become a voice for the voiceless, inspiring hearts and minds and mobilizing mindset. She is the one who realized the problem of the universal feeling of powerlessness in the face of our planet's messiest problem. I am privileged to welcome Clover Hogan, a 21-year-old climate activist, researcher on eco-anxiety and the founder of Force of Nature. At 16, Clover was lobbying decision makers at Paris climate meeting when she realized that the threat greater even than climate change was the feeling of powerlessness in the face of it. She made it her mission to mobilize mindsets. After graduating from the Green School in Indonesia, Clover worked with Impossible Foods alongside the whole world's leading authorities on sustainability and within the boardrooms of Fortune 500 companies before launching Force of Nature. Clover is also campaign strategist for @MyCoreSolution, serves as the trustee of Global Action Plan and is on the advisory board of the National Community Lottery Climate Action Fund. Today's panel discussion will be moderated by Dr. Vikrant Singh Tobar, convener United Consciousness. Dr. Tobar is an acknowledged trainer, academician, scholar, writer, and a management consultant. He's a freelance trainer and served the cabinet ministers of state, MLAs, police officers, and tycoons of the business world. His aim and objective is universal brotherhood and happiness through harmonizing the knowledge from the ancient scriptures into our lives. So I welcome all our guests for panel discussion.
Namaste, everybody. We welcome and acknowledge presence of Clover Hogan from UK. We acknowledge presence of Raheen Fatima from Pakistan, and we acknowledge presence of Emmanuel Jal from Sudan and Canada. Dear friends, and we also welcome our audience coming from 56 countries of the world in this grand occasion of International Yoga Day celebration. We are going to discuss on a very important topic. We are the future of the planet. And as you all can see, we have future of the planet in front of us. So let me embark the discussion from raising first simple question, though it is not that simple, but still, Clover Hogan, how do you see the future of the planet? If I say, what is the planet of your dreams? If God tells you, whatever you say, so may it be, what kind of planet, what kind of world you dream of? Over to you.
Thank you for having me, and delighted to be joining this incredible panel of young, inspiring change makers. For me, it's a world where we are not disconnected from nature, nor are we disconnected from community, nor from ourselves. It's a world where we live within planetary boundaries, where we no longer commodify the natural world nor exploit frontline communities. And of course, it's a dream of peace as well. It's a world where we live in unity and we don't allow things like borders to get in the way of global equity.
Wow. So Clover sees a world which is beyond borders, connected with nature, completely in peace with self and surroundings. Amazing. Now let me come to Emmanuel Jal. What is your dream planet? If everything will happen the way you want it to happen, you have had your own part of struggle in your early childhood. What kind of planet you dream of?
Well, as a kid, I found two things that were fascinating in my life. When I imagine my future in a negative way, it terrifies me. It shut me down. It snatched the joy, the little strengths that I have. But when I imagine my future in a positive way, I get excited. So I would imagine myself as a kid that time to be a doctor. And I'll see how is that like to be a doctor. And in my head, and I live there and I enjoy it. The next day I want to be a pilot. And then I imagine how is it like to be a pilot. And so through the imagination, up to now is how I simplifies it. Is I had that basic, simple thing to be a part of a solution. And we know how our life is today. And each one of us is to set yourself that one big, audacious goal, like a big goal that I can imagine when you're imagining it. And I look at it as the best gift I can give this world is not achieving that goal, but the journey of who I become in that process is what I look as the gift for the world.
Wow. So Emmanuel Jal says that a world where every child can dream positively because it excites a child and there should not be any fear in dreams. He also said that a world which is a part of a solution rather than part of the problem, and who you become in your journey is more important than achieving the goal actually, because what you cultivate yourself into, you yourself become a gift to the world. Thank you very much, Emmanuel Jal. Now we'll ask from Raheen Fatima, what is the world of your dreams, Raheen?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure. And so, the world of my dreams is where everybody respects each other, loves each other, takes care of each other, regardless of their race, their religion, their caste, their creed, their professional backgrounds, and where we do not judge anybody by which generation or the age they're from, and there's intergenerational harmony. And when we're unified, as I think nobody more than you would agree, is when we can find the solutions and actually make the world of all of our dreams and make that dream come true.
Thank you very much. Raheen dreams of a world which is full of mutual respect without judgments. Nobody likes to be judged, but still we end up judging others. Raheen sees a world beyond limited boundaries, divisions. She said that we should appreciate diversity, but we should stop divisions. So, and she also mentioned about intergenerational harmony, a harmonious world. Amin. So may it be. Whatever all three of you said, may whosoever is there in the heaven, up there in the sky, may grant us that kind of world. Now, my second question: as the discussion will grow, questions will become more intriguing. So, what this is a dream world we are thinking of. What are the major challenges, Clover? Why this world is not the way when in such an early age you can see the world should be like this? Why can't people like me, or maybe people who are at the helms of affairs, why can't they see that? Why world is not like that? What are the major challenges, Clover, to achieve that world? What are the problems or challenges? Over to you.
Thank you. I'm loving how meta these questions are. It's great. So I think people from all corners of the world, regardless of their upbringing or background, care and want to care about the world's problems, but are often not empowered to care. And I think this largely comes down to the cultural narratives and stories that we are conditioned with. I think there are lots of stories that keep us feeling really disempowered, that normalize these kind of broken systems that are the reason why we have things like the climate crisis, and that actually inhibit us from imagining what an alternative might look like. And I think we can forget that these huge complex systems are ultimately fictions that lots of us, choose to subscribe to. My favorite is, the example of capitalism, right? We think of the economic system as completely impermeable and unchangeable. And yet, if you pull, a $10 bill out of your wallet, it doesn't have any inherent value, right? You try and trade that $10 note with a monkey for a banana, and they'll, look at you like you're crazy. So I find that very empowering on some level, because I realize that what we're lacking is a story and a narrative that is compelling enough to actually bring us toward an alternative, one where we do keep within planetary boundaries, one where we do look after one another and look after ourselves. And I think this is where I see that young people are at a unique advantage to be real disruptors to the system, because we haven't been around long enough for society to kind of clip the wings of our imaginations. And so it's much easier for us to think, okay, what can alternative look like to the way that we do business or policy or the way that we vote? I think one of the biggest barriers is that a lot of people in positions of power have been conditioned to certain stories for so long that it's very difficult for them to get outside of their own echo chamber and think, well, here's how we could actually do something differently. So in many ways, I think that conflict and the climate crisis are really a crisis in imagination. What could we actually do differently? What could we do better? And so I think we can begin to dismantle some of those barriers by bringing a diversity of perspectives into these rooms and into these spaces, and actually shaking up the people who are kind of governing our lives and reinforcing some of those unhelpful stories.
Thank you. I want whole world to know this, that this discussion is completely spontaneous. Majority of them I'm meeting for the first time in life. So they don't know what I'm going to ask. I don't know what they can say. Even they must have not have thought about the questions that I will be imposing. So even I'm enjoying it very much. So Clover said that everybody wants to care, but the problem is people are not empowered. And the problem why they are not empowered are their own cultural narratives and stories that people have. It appears she wants to say that we are the victims of the victims. Our parents heard stories, they told us stories, we keep on telling stories and stories after stories, and some of the stories are fictions. And then she said that conditioning of these stories really disempower us, and there is a crisis of imagination, something new. And to add to your point, Clover, NASA conducted a research. I wanted to tell everybody of you that research says that at the age of 5, a child is 98% imaginative. At the age of 10 years, the same child remains 33% in imagination. At the age of 15 years, it reduced to 12%. And at my age, it is left with only 2%. So when people have a group photograph with this, they actually are saying only 2% imaginations are left. So probably this is what Clover is saying, that people need to shake the people in power, and so that we may arise and awake in more imaginative solutions of the present problems. Raheen, what's your take on that? Why world is not the way it should be?
Well, I definitely do agree with Clover, and I think it is how weak our communication can get a lot of times. I mean, we've been blessed with the power to communicate through many things. Now it's also texting and emojis and GIS, but most importantly, it's how we speak, and still we are not able to get that strong communication game on, because I see a lot of times like the news is going on, the media is going on, and from the entire conversation they pick up one line and they put that one on, not the entire conversation, because that's, the controversial statement or something. And that's, I mean, I see a lot of countries with each other, and I'm like, I think there's a conflict, and then it's also the problem of generalizing that based on whatever information that we get from the media or whatever has been communicated to us through whatever, even WhatsApp forward messages, people believe it. Trust me, they do. um, and you believe it, and then you start generalizing that somebody is from a certain country or from a certain background, religious background or professional background or a caste or a creed. Then you start generalizing on that person is from another place. They're always bad, or they're always so good, or they're always judging, or they're always like that. I think then when you generalize based on the information that we get, knowing the communication is very strong, that's what creates a lot of problems that lead to war or conflict or just judging each other in our hearts, which is a very, very big problem.
Thank you. I'm very happy about your specific answers, all three of you. It really impresses me. Raheen said that communication is a power, but somehow we are not able to use it powerfully because communication is either misunderstood or it is misconstrued. So that's why she said that the reason is people have their own stereotypes, they generalize things. And again, connecting to Clover, people have heard some stories from their childhood, and the stories that they heard depends on the place they are born, and they have not chosen where they will be born. So if you'll be born this side of the boundary or that side of the boundary, you will get different stories to listen to. So maybe this is the reason that she mentioned about it. Now we'll ask the same question from Emmanuel Jal. Why world is not the way you think it should be? What is the problem? What do you see is the problem?
Well, our lives are shaped by the stories we hear, and our success depends on the stories we are told. So if we look at how we are today, the heroes that we have that shapes our lives wrote the history. We're in a situation whereby the winner comes with the rules to which our lives are governed by. And for example, and if you're on the losing side, if they tell you you are a dog and you say I'm a human being, you get your head chopped off. And then And then the only way to survive is to accept you're a dog. And by the time you go on, maybe you have a revelation. You realize, hey, I'm a human being. I have 2 legs and hands, and I talk, and I'm blood. I have like you. You pick up a fight to fight for your right. And eventually, maybe you get a stalemate. They tell, okay, if you don't have to continue to fight, now you're a human being. We accept you're a human being, but you're going to be paid $2 an hour, but I'll earn $1 million an hour. What do you say about that? And then you look at it, okay, $2 is better than before. And then by the time you realize, I want more. And so the way I look at it is, we don't know who we are until we have something. I look at it, each one of us has a gift. Today I almost cried when I look at my life. How did I come here? All I had was just, I want to be a part of a solution, imagining something that I can do and practicing it at that level and giving it. So the way I look at it is, in order to see the future we want to see, it has to begin with us. You can only give what you have. If the cup of water is empty, that's what you give. So each one of us need to know their dream. What is that big audacious goal that they want to bring? What is that thing they want to create? As you said, imagination. Seriously, in imagination, innovation, creativity, creative thinking. What is it? What is that big goal that you have in mind? And then your purpose will be for your heart. So your big goal is your dream. And what is your mission? Your mission is for your hand. So basically identifying a skill that you can develop every day and consistently contribute with that. Because in that little steps that we make, we can create that big change. So the change that we want to see in the world begin with us.
Thank you. So Emmanuel Jal said that he also took the narrative that, yes, there are stories, and those heroes, they shape our lives. And as they say, till lion does not understand how to write and speak, all the stories will be sung in the name of the perpetrator. So we need to learn how to write and read our own stories. And then he also mentioned that winners comes with the rules. And it reminds me of a book I read, that all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal. And these selective definitions of equality really makes world more complicated. But then Emmanuel said that you should know what your dreams are. Be specific about it, and on daily basis, long enough. Whatever you want to do it regularly, anything, but do it long enough. Then only you will be able to write your own story in a good way. So now, with your answer, Emmanuel, let's go to the third round of my question, which is the most important round. And as I told you, as the discussion progresses, questions will be more deep. So we understood about the dream. We understood about the obstacle. Now the difficult question is, as you said, let's write our own stories. Stories which we want generations to come to read. That there were people who imagined differently. There were some people who spoke differently. There were some people who stood distinctively. I know it is a difficult question which I am going to ask, because many of the presidents of the nations may not answer it with full conviction. But still, I am taking chance to ask this question from all three of you, because I can see future of the planet in you. Clover, we know the dream, we know the problems. Now, what should be the action items? How should you proceed? Give me 2 tips, 2 things that world should really focus and start doing it today onwards in this International Day of Yoga. What are those things? If Clover be the Secretary General of United Nations or the President of any mighty nation, what Clover will do? 2 things.
Oh, 2 things. All right. I'll try and keep it short and sweet, although I struggle with that. So the first on this theme of stories would be to reflect on which stories keep you feeling disempowered. So every day at Force of Nature, we work with students in over 50 countries, helping them understand what those stories are. And we hear a lot of them on repeat, from I'm too small to make a difference to the system is too broken to create change, or people don't care, or it's too late. You know, all of these stories that kind of keep us trapped within the current problem. And so on an individual level, I think beginning to reflect on, you know, when are those moments I've wanted to take action in response to injustice, or I've wanted to speak up on behalf of another person and haven't? And what was that thing inside me that stopped me, the inner critic or that self-limiting story? So I think starting the self-reflection there, and then in tangible terms of being able to step up and make a difference, I think focus is really, really important. Often we can feel incredibly overwhelmed because there are so many issues and so many challenges, right? You go online for 5 seconds and you're kind of inundated with doomsday headlines of problems happening in every corner of the world. Yet I think everyone who is on this call is kind of testament to the power and impact of focus, of saying, this is the problem that I really want to own. So my second piece of advice would be to connect to that problem, whether it is prison reform or plastic pollution or fast fashion or social inequity, and think, what is that problem that ignites a fire within my belly? And then how can I show up with my unique skills and talents and gifts to actually solve that problem? And I think this is really key because we often focus on how the climate crisis, for example, is a symptom of many interconnected problems. And yet it's also the best invitation we've ever had as a society to rethink so much of how we live and breathe and exist. So what does a world look like in which we've solved each of these problems? And once you find that focus, you also find your power.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So simple, but so strong what you said, Clover. She said that remove all these disempowering stories. People are full, people online, internet, everything is full of self-critic and such stories. So part one of our advice is start with self-reflection, focus and step out. What you want to do, be very clear about it. So first, be clear what you want to do, focus. And second, whatever problem of the world which puts your belly on fire, go and fight for it. So simple, but so strong steps, she suggested. It reminds me of the definition of greatness. The definition of greatness is when a person understanding the problems of his times puts planned efforts in their solutions, then that person is great. Greatness does not depend on his ability to achieve that objective or not. At least he tried. So thank you very much, Clover, for your inputs. I know I have been very critical with you because every new question I fire on you, you get no time at all. But fine, but that's perfectly fine. Now I'll come to Emmanuel Jal with the same question. Yes, what is the solution?
Well,
Two-step process, any two things, yes, any two things that you would like to suggest to all teenagers, all elders, everybody in the world, what two things we should do today, whatever comes to your mind.
Before I'll just say thank you for your. I just really enjoy the way you bring these questions, and I love how everybody's coming with some unique answers. What I'll say is, great people create circumstances that create their life. Ordinary people allow their circumstances to create the life they don't want. So basically here, what I want to say is, let's fall in love with our problems and accept them as our mission, a gift the universe has given us. Hey, this is your mission. So remember how big that problem is. Now, that has helped me with my child. So all your history, every terrible thing that happening to you and everything that happening, that's a mission you've been given, because fire mold things. So that your problems are to make you to become the best you should be. So let's fall in love with our problems. That's number one. Number two, what I would say is find your purpose. You know, your purpose. It's whatever you do that gives you joy. And in that, it will teach you different things. When I say that, there's so many things in the purpose, and one of the pillars is belief. There is courage. There's many benefits what your purpose can teach you. It will also show you what your vision is. It expands your imagination. When I came to Canada, I came with nothing. I just wanted to be a part of a solution. And believing in it, it made me build a world that I couldn't possibly imagine.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Emmanuel Jal. He rightly said that he brought a very important perspective that great people create circumstances. And he said there are two tips that he has to give to the world, to everybody around. Fall in love with the problems, but because problems are basically opportunities, and make them your missions of life. This is what made Mahatma Gandhi Mahatma Gandhi. This is what made Nelson Mandela Nelson Mandela. This is what made Abraham Lincoln. This is what made Martin Luther King what Martin Luther King was. They all had problems. And they converted those problems in missions, because fire molds you. And in yoga, we call it tapas. Tapas means the fire. Fire in the belly, Clover said. Fire around, Emmanuel said. So fire is must. And then second option he said is find the purpose of your life, because purpose brings that fire in the belly. If you have no purpose, there is no fire. And if there is no fire, you can't do anything. So find the purpose of your life. You will be living every single day. And even if you die in that purpose, you'll be happily going away from the planet that you did whatever you could have. Amazing answer. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Now we go to Raheen Fatima. Your two tips to the world over. 56 nations participants have registered in this event. World is watching you. Tell me, Raheen.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I really appreciate what Clover and both Emmanuel said. It was amazing. And I too encourage everybody to, really just go crazy and explore their options thoroughly, because, that time of when you're exploring would never come again. And then when it's past, and then you're doing something you don't love, which ultimately just leads to gloom and doom and all the negative adjectives and stuff. So I would say, yes, find your passion, find something that you want to do, explore and go crazy, go nuts. That's actually a very nice thing. But always know that it's not that you'll do it after you're 18. You can't wait for that time, because I mean, for me, when it started was that I was like, will I live up to 18? That was the question. Will I live up to that? Will I get to do that? When I saw my brother there, he was very, very sick, and I saw him and I was like, I don't know if I do. So I'm gonna start right now. So I die satisfied and being founded my passion, working on it, helping people with it. And that's what I would say to do. Do it right now, because no one can guarantee life. Nobody can. So, and the second thing is to communicate really effectively. That's something I would, whatever to you seems like I am communicating effectively, state the facts, talk firmly, all of that. Because when you just, do a little, here and there in your sentences or in your facts, it can mess a lot of things up. And some people, well, the stories that we've heard and we've seen and we've witnessed, we see that some, you know, things here and there with some information, and that has consequences, even in personal life, even if it's not two nations going ballistic, but it has consequences nonetheless.
Thank you. Raheen said that she mentioned four things, and I loved all four things, Raheen. She said, be passionate. And another thing she said is so philosophical but practically correct. Do it now. You never know whether you are going to take next breath or not. So whatever you have in your mind, do it now. This is the right time to do. And another thing, whatever you do it for higher purpose that should help others and communicate effectively. The lion of truth should roar so high that the jackals of problem should run away. And as they say in economics, good money puts bad money out of the market, and bad money puts good money out of the market. So let's kindle a light so that all darkness can be removed. So Dear friends from all parts of the world, let's conclude our discussion. We had Clover saying this, that she is the voice of the voiceless. And she said that she dreams of a world with full of nature, collective community, peace, unity, world beyond borders. And for that, she said the problem is we are not enough empowered. Everybody wants to care, but we are not empowered. The reason is our cultural narratives, stories. We are victims of victims, and in the fictions we live. And we need, as a solution, we need to disrupt this and break these conditioning. This is a crisis of imagination, and we need to have some empowering stories. And for that, we need to do first self reflection, focus, and then step out. And then connect with the fire in the belly. Whatever your life feels like, that I really am incarnated on the planet for this purpose. Like Martin Luther King used to say, even if I die for this purpose, it is worth it. So once you understand your purpose of life, she said, and then start working for it. Then we have Raheen Fatima. She said that world with mutual respect, divine beyond divides, a world which will not judge each other, intergenerational harmony, international harmony, and this is a kind of world. But the problem is poor communication, misunderstood communication, stereotypes, and too much generalizing of things on the basis of the stories we heard. And the solution is, she said, first identify your passion. Second, do it now. You don't know whether next breath you will take or not. Help others, whatever you do. This is the difference between animals and human, that human have that more capacity that we can really think much big beyond ourselves, though even animals think beyond themselves, but then we are human, we should think all the more. And last, she said that communicate effectively, roar so loud that world will listen to you what you want to say. And then we have Emmanuel. He said that the problem in the world is that people, majority, are the part of this problem. So the solution is, we really need to be part of the solution, have a big goal, and make your journey inclined towards it. He said that the stories world over is shaped by the heroes. Winners dictates the rules, and they comes with the rules. As they say, some equal animals are equal. So all animals are equal, but some are more equal. So it is most important that know your dream. And he also mentioned daily start working on that. And as a solution, he said that fall in love with the problems. Problems are there to mold you. And without a problem, what will be the objective of your life? Swami Vivekananda used to say that if you start walking in morning and you find no problem, probably you are on the wrong walk, wrong track. So problem tells you that you are being chosen to the right track. And then he said, find your purpose of life because it will make you flow. So till you will live in flow. And the day you say sayonara, bye-bye to the world, you'll go in peace that you did whatever you could have. So dear friends, I am so inspired. And I just could wish that in your age, Raheen, I could have thought so much. In your age, Clover, in your age, Emmanuel, I could have thought so much. I guess people who are watching from all parts of the world must also be inspired. We can only wish that all your dreams should come true. And I promise you, as a global convener of United Consciousness stands firm with all three of you and with all global change makers like you. I will contact you after this communication, after this panel discussion, because so many things to share and learn from each other. United Consciousness greets you Global Yoga Day. Yoga itself stands for union, connection beyond divides. So let's connect all our dreams to create a world which is smiling as all three of you are smiling. Thank you very much. Honored to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you.